is working, right? All right. Welcome to the Unitarians Open Mic Poetry Service. I was just told this is the 143rd year since Emerson passed. There's that guy right there. Had a big influence on me, even though he doesn't talk at all like me. So I just want to start off by saying welcome to everyone who signed up. We do have a sign-up sheet right here. So please, if you want to read, make sure you do sign up. Also, I've also noticed that you guys, as a church, has done a lot of work in the garden so far. And not just you, but everyone else sees, but I'm pointing at you. And I really appreciate it. And the other day I was contacted by Nancy Crosby's daughter. And I just want to give a little shout out to Nancy Crosby because I spent many hours in the garden working on this garden out here with her. And she's just really great people. And I just want to mention that. A little shout out to Nancy and all she meant to me and all the different things that she's done for this church and just for the community. She was on the genesis of the IJD where I work. Just has done a lot of good things. In fact, she was a lifetime member. And there's another bust over there of William Potter. And her grandparents were actually married by him. So, little touchstone. All right, at that point, let's light the chalice. Let me do that right now. All right, with this chalice being lit, what I'd like to do is read a quotation from Margaret Fuller, who is also influenced by Emerson. And the quote is, "Are the stars too distant? Reverence for the highest, patience with the lowest. May today's meanest task become thy religion. Are the stars too distant? Pick up the pebble by thy feet and learn from it the all." So, for many of you, I was a member here, and this is a wonderful church. But many of you don't know me because I probably only do two things here, which is the poetry service and I ring the bell. So that's about it. But this year what I thought I'd do is I'd do a little intro to myself. And the girls where I work were talking about dating apps. And they were putting together their sort of profiles, their bios. And I was thinking about if I started dating again, what my profile would say. And when I thought about what my profile said, I realized just how ridiculous it was, and that no one would actually believe me. So what I did was, I'm not going to explain it, I'm just going to read it. Professional Rosarian, whose hobbies include writing and reading poetry, long walks in nature, woodworking and chair building, very much a spiritual seeker, works with different charities, loves puppies, and each Sunday I manually ring the church bell to start services, looking for new experiences, serious or casual. All right, with that, what I'd like to do is start off as a church. I know you guys have your covenant, so I believe it's in your order of services. So if we can read that in unison. What's that? Oh, you guys, there was no, okay, that's fine. You know what, many of you haven't memorized. There are orders of service. All right. So, anyone need one? We're all set. Okay. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of expression, conscious, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. So a couple of announcements. Number one, in the back of the building, in the back of the sanctuary here, there are some books that Bet and Ed are giving away. It's free poetry books, so don't be bashful. Please take advantage of it. Also, on a side note for myself, I'm involved with the Friends of Buttonwood Park, and we are having our annual meeting, which is going to be held over at the Friends Meeting House down the road. May 22nd at 6 o'clock it will start, and the public is welcome, and it'll be worth checking out because we redid the entire interior of the Friends Meeting House, so it's been repainted and so forth. Looks really great. We still got a ways to go with some things, but if you haven't been there in years and you come in now, you'll see there's a total transformation. So I don't know if anyone else has any other announcements. I think there was a dedication today too, but we'll leave that. I know Karen's wrangling up kids back there, so. All right. And then, where is Charlie? If you guys could do the offering, right? What I'm going to do is just give a little intro, not an intro, but talk a little bit, and they're going to do the offering now. That way, when people do the readings, there's no flow interruption. If anyone's going to interrupt the flow, it's going to be me. Okay. This is just sort of a personal note. Years ago, my mom read a poem she had written for my sister Julie at Julie's funeral mass. It was a moment in which my admiration and my respect for my mother grew tenfold. She was about to bury her daughter, and in front of a full church, my mom stood straight, read clear, and finished what she had wanted, or really what she was compelled to do. She, being my mother, has asked me to write her eulogy. And this is my latest writing little project that I'm working on. And my mother isn't dead, but she wants to read, or have me read, her eulogy before she dies. Which is kind of an ode to being Irish, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but that's what she wants, and I love my mother. So I'm writing her eulogy, and it's occurred to me just how many positive influences she had on me. And one of which was always to try, regardless of the outcome. And with that in mind, if you've never read a poem in front of an audience, try it today. Give it a shot. And if I was to quote my mother, she would literally say to me, "The hell with it. Stop being a wimp, otherwise you'll regret it." So if you got a poem in your heart and you want to express it, please, by all means, sign up. Don't be bashful. Okay, so I'm going to read probably, how many people do we have signed up so far? So, 9? 2 more? Okay. So I'll probably read about 3 or 4 poems. I was going to read a couple more if we didn't have enough people. But let me start with my first poem, which is, I'm not sure what I want to title this. Art is a unique thing. And what compels people to do art is also unique. And when art is really good, it really does connect and it conveys. So this is sort of not sort of, this is what this poem is about, is the want and the need to connect. Disquiet solitude, in a dialogue, pirate Creole, trace my hand against the cave wall, pilgrims never go home. I turned 50 recently, and we went to St. Thomas down in the Virgin Islands. And it was a unique region, but it was also unique where you could look out the back porch, and you could see, I believe it's called Drake's Passage. But right at that point is where Columbus had hit the New World and sort of went south, right? So this poem I actually lost, and I just found it the other day, and I read it to my son Chris is with us today, but I read it to my other son Paul, and he said, Dad, that's great, you should read that. So I'm not sure if it's everything I want, but he liked it, so I'm going to read it for him. And also, the other thing too is we met someone from New Bedford down there. And St. Thomas, although it's the Virgin Islands, it's got a certain grime to it. And he said to me, it's like New Bedford. It's beautiful, but it's got like a grime to it. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I do actually. So, St. Thomas. Beauty with grime, dumpsters on the side of crooked roads, public drinking, pristine beaches, wild chickens. St. Thomas, Christmas winds blowing through, connecting old and new. And then this next poem is very much it's an observational poem that I'm also fascinated by the abstract. So there's the very simple things that you can see, and then there's sort of the mental take on things. And then there's that grounding that you need in life, otherwise you just kind of spiral all around. So that's what this poem is about. It was it had been a hot summer last year, and this particular night it had cooled down, and I was laying in bed, and so that will give you the atmosphere. Closed blinds, sailing fan, open window, lower humidity, door ajar, across the hall, light left on, alarm clock set, digital face, glowing green, dog beside bed, woman undressing, terror of the mind, shuffling cards, drawing consequences, radio signals, cell towers amplify, slung along the streets, lines of alternating current, cars passing by, laying in bed, her leg across mine, hand on my chest, murmurs of love and ripples of breath. And then this particular poem is a sonnet I wrote that I had heard somebody say vestibule. And then while they were saying it, they used the word you, which is kind of a rhyme. And I thought that was kind of a neat little thing. And this originally started out, I was going to do something about the city of New Bedford. But I didn't hamper myself with that because there was no real connection to what I was trying to write. I was just trying to put together some words. And what I ended up doing was writing this poem, which I call Romance of the Equinox. And it's about that, we're in a church, kind of that half, I want to use a certain term there, you know, kind of into it, but not really into it, love. So, Romance of the Equinox. Half-lit old city streets and vestibules, in vacant lot fireflies flicker, twilight and clinging to a dream of you. Really it's enough to make one snicker. Some garbage of half-eaten chicken bones, passing by chain-link fences, driveways, and spending this hour wandering alone. It's easy to walk, then make a stand. Dawning in the sky, a fleeting Venus, forever, forever a paradox. You and me, and what is this about us? Some tepid romance of the equinox. Love should grow, thrive, and flower in balance. Sometimes, though, some roses have no fragrance. And then my final poem is, a couple years ago, I had stopped by and I had visited Everett. And this is also in the format of a sonnet. And I really enjoyed the time that we spent together talking and laughing, and apparently he's a little under the weather right now. Otherwise, he'd probably be here. But this particular poem I wrote, and I first did it in free verse, but I found that that sort of went everywhere on me. And it wasn't, I started touching on topics that I didn't really want to always touch on, or certainly weren't pertinent to the point that I was trying to get through. So I put this in the format of a sonnet, and I think it's much better. Okay, visiting Everett. Stopping by and visiting Everett. Gallery kitchen and carpeted floors. In the modest home of the great poet, simple furniture matches the steel doors. We talk about woodworking and writing, to leave a live edge or bevel it all. Outside, the shared common yard seems fitting. Populist manifesto on the wall. Off the living room, a hallway of life. Pictures of friends and family. The ways, his words, the hope against strife. The spiritual drum beats of memory. Free, fine verse that crescendos up the trellis, striving towards communion and justice. Thank you. And now we're going to open it up. And who is the first person? We got Steve! All right, thank you all. Let's do it again next year.
I guess. Is that good? So this is called the meanderings of an old man. I saw a girl long ago who changed my life as I changed hers. Nothing stays the same, yet on the smallest level, it never changes, ever changing. I saw a woman still changing my life, I changing hers, going forward toward the unknowing, known. We journey on through thoughts of black ink stretched across the whites of my mind's eyes, searching for meaning among the squiggles of unknown words that might have some meaning, meanings found by the side of some long-lost wooded trail, mowed down, crushed up into creating white, soft paper, so that I can imagine moments of past glories in my life's journey, this moment with you, all around us, the universe. Not over. What can I say? Not much of anything. What can I see? Who knows? Not me. What do I hear? The joyous chorus of life's unfolding.
Everyone, if anyone wants to sign up, I'm going to put the sign-up sheet right here. All right. So while we have the sign-up sheet, I'm going to check back before the end too. So if anyone wants to sign up and they haven't had a chance to read, there is time. It's right here. But in the meantime, I'm just going to read a few Emerson short poems. First one, Nature, a subtle chain of countless rings, the next unto the farthest brings. The eye reads omens where it goes, and speaks all languages the rose. And striving to be man, the worm mounts through all the spires of form. We have one more. The poet, a moody child and wildly wise, pursued the game with joyful eyes, which chose like meteors their way and rived the dark with private ray. They overleapt the horizon's edge, searched with Apollo's privilege, through man and woman and sea and star, saw the dance of nature forward far, through worlds and races and terms and times, saw musical order and pairing rhymes, Olympian bards who sung divine ideas below, which always find us young and always keep us so. Rita Emerson. Now we have Dave Labrie. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is new today and is probably going to end up longer, so apologies if it's a little bit rough around the edges. This is spring cleaning. I see the blooming tulips and the cherry blossoms in their pink shower like Ostara's answer to the snow. I see the hostas start to push up through the ground, getting ready for their August show. And I wonder when we, after resting for so long, will push through, rise up, and sing our freedom song. I see neighbors stolen, I see inclusion derided, I see us still hiding instead of blooming into our righteous freedom song. Thank you.
Betlow.
Hi, I'm Bet. And I know Rick because we used to do poetry together at Horizon Glass for 5 years in this church, and there's so much talent here. If we want to start another poetry group, I think it would be a good thing. I have 3 very topical poems. The first one is a haiku, and it's called Nest Egg. Capricious tariffs, a crazy tumbling market, our nest egg crushed. This I wrote a few years ago, and it was off on an island off the coast of Florida. And the national parks and public lands in this country are under threat. And the cuts to national park staff, the mining, logging, our public lands are under threat, and I'm afraid other people in the future won't have this experience. It's called Sunrise Southern Island. I wake to light round owl sounds at dawn, and the rattling rustle of palmetto fronds. I see silent cat paws plying the silver bay, and the radiating ripples from mullet feeding across the way. My shoes make a soft, careful crunch on pastel shells. I see the sleek slip of dolphins in the smooth swells. I hear the scissor snip of plovers working the wilting rack, and the curious keening call of osprey at my back. Pillow quiet sea foam rolls in the breeze, and the hollow heads of sea oats whisper and wheeze. I see raccoon tracks stitching shoreline runes and radiating runner vines crisscrossing the dunes. I watch silent sunlight sliding across the land, painting russet royal terns standing on the sand, outlining in ochre every mangrove tree. Dawn comes to Kaya Costa and to me. And this last one I call I Know a Little About. I know a little about hate. At times, it has held me, gripped me, ridden me, ruled me. There is power in hate. It feels good. It focuses you. It drives you. It energizes. It feels electric. But hate is not really electric. It is corrosive like acid. It dissolves all that is fine and good. It burns you inside out and leaves a sizzling hole where your heart was. Hate blinds you to kindness, blinds you to beauty, blinds you to what is good in the world. We think that we hurt what we hate, but our hating hurts us more. Hate doesn't build. Hate doesn't nurture. Hate will never make America great. Isn't it time we are emancipated? Isn't it time we unbind, we unshackle, we release ourselves and our country from hate?
Karen, thank you.
Still catching my breath from chasing children real quick. So I got a couple of things. Our dear friend and former poet laureate, Everett Hoagland, is in hospital right now, and he spoke to me yesterday to ask me to read a poem of his about this beautiful Tiffany mosaic, or at least inspired by that and inspired by a trek that he took. I can't remember where. Hold on one sec, let me find this poem. It's called The Pilgrim. Please keep our friend Everett in your thoughts and prayers to get healthy again. Up from the bottom, the basin, up from the 400 feet deep, great glassy lake unlocked by seaway. Away from the dark water's reflection of my face, by way of pseudopodia, across the alluvial plain above the pebbled shore, up the dawn-lit uplands, wild, star-flowered, allotted acres, cast lot by dewlight over the overgrown fieldstone fence, chinked with chipmunks. Past the past's antique white shotgun houses, past caroling robins, up in the gnarled, barren branches of the old garden's blistered apple tree, just to be hard bitten by big June breeding, protein-needing, black Adirondack blood flies. But somehow, by some way, upstanding, straight-backed, sure-footed in the solving stream of noon sun, beaming down and all around the sloped length of hard-won clearing, slowly ascending the low, shadowed Piedmont up into clearer air, through the last stand of old-growth pine, to sit on top of glacier-cleft escarpment long gone Indians' tongues termed split rock. Its degenerating boulder base surrounded by crumbling stones, inspired, inspirited, still looking up, staring into, searching the starry sky as one searches his, her new baby's face, as nursing babies take in their mama's faces, up there, out there where all the above, all that below, and I began. From here on the mountain peak, the lakes look like the great rain-filled footprints of a god. I turn around and see the other's track merge with mine, and I return to staring up at the endless, timeless thing, one of the ones all of us stare at. Ocean, Great Lake, campfire, hearthfire, mountain, Milky Way, our newborns' faces, searching, sensing, seeing, hearing the spiritual, and from what, from where, and how we have come to be. And there's a lovely little reflection about that poem in Dan Harper's book, Liberal Pilgrims. If you want to follow up on that, I'd be happy to share it with you. Okay, now here's a new one of mine, still being worked in my poetry group, but I'm gonna give it a try. It's called Smiling at the Night Sea. Sometimes at night, this coast throws the ocean air up everywhere, and it settles on me and seeps so deeply I am pulled under by sadness, so much I have to smile. I smile until the salt sticks to my teeth and my tongue is drawn to my briny lips, wetting them with familiar seawater. There are histories upon histories that tasted this air like I do, who have rolled it around on their lively tongues, and then they drown down to live forever at the bottom of the sea. We live intertwined with the dead here, Poseidon's sons and daughters twisting along inside the green net of everything, catching on anything that sticks out, to hit the crunchy, smooth bottom, dredging up an endless harvest of stories, woven over beers in bars and on wharves with sons of sons of sons of sons. Here we breathe them all in, erect statues and build museums, post cenotaphs of endless names, pounding on our chest as a testament to still being here to remember. I smile until my tongue is dry and smiling hurts. I smile because it hurts, this immensity of time. I smile because I love this salty place worked so deep into my soul, and because every person that has ever lived beside the ocean has understood what I do right now on nights like these, when you touch ancient briny bones with your teeth, with your breath, and hear signals that sounded long before any of us were born. I smile until I have to bite my lips, the tears streaming like rivers, until the moon breaks through and laughs at me. I smile because the moon knows my name. She knows where I live. My home has always been among this brilliant combination of ocean and stars. Thank you.
Jackie Leonard.
Finneran's sister-in-law. He's my brother-in-law. And I just have to read poems. One of my jobs is working at the community market in Sebastopol, California, they're like my family. And they inspired me to write this first poem, which is more like an old shanty song or a tavern song. I dance with the Morris dancers out there in California. It's called Tongue in Cheek. Ere thy gentle tongue in cheek doth softly cry as if to speak, O heavy words I've never known, leap from thy tongue with proper tone. When all the world 'tis chaos and froth, thy ear endeavors for all its worth to join the chorus song of mirth. Thy toes would dance a jig up high, raiment smock waving colored flags, until the morning sun doth rise. Then we shall dance upon the ring, and never worry who shall be king. Life is brief, so let us sing with our voices high, oh, oh, with our voices high, oh. For all to mock my lolly tongue wags, speak to me, not of thy woes. Dance with me, on your toes. Tap to the fiefdom of a leaf, for the night is long, the day is nigh. There is no fool to call our chief. So we shall dance upon the ring, and never worry who shall be king. Life is brief, so let us sing with our voices high, oh, oh, with our voices high, oh. And I actually am a Buddhist, and this one's called A Brand New Day. So if you're into Buddhism, you might recognize some of the words. Curled within the life circle, inescapable dukkha, veins and eyes and blood and mind. Deep inside, we see behind the veil of reality to find. Anicca lives in fantasy. Anatta dies to set us free. From invisible bonds, clinging fetters, set by arrows of our own design. Lotus upon every loci, all wrapped as one, each becoming the other. If we give each moment our love and humbly wake to the day, in such a way our nights may fall sweetly into the realm of being, woven into the fabric of the mind. As the light shines brightest in the darkest sleep, the soul begets a brand new day. And being a Buddhist, there's one thing I don't like about Buddhism, and that is, oh, actually I lied, I have 4 poems. And that is that they treat the women kind of less well. They don't let them have a full education. They have to sit at the back of the monastery. And so I call this one the garden gnome, but it's not G-N-O-M-E. And my sister, not my twin sister, but my older sister, constantly sends me everything with like regular garden gnomes, and I'm like, no, it's not that kind of gnome, because gnome is monk spelled backwards, and so I think that whole backwards thing. I heard this Buddhist nun say, what would it be like if all the men were sitting in the back and all the women, were sitting in the front? So gnome is K-N-O-M. So it's called the garden gnome. I am the garden gnome. I shall grow wherever I choose, blooming with all the shades of love, enveloping you in perfume. I am the garden gnome, buttressing every mountain, planting seeds on the horizon, short of stature, tall of mind, eternal in nature, serenely sublime. Awaiting till the sun, the rain, I take pride in my fungus umbrella. Mycelium roots do maintain. I am the garden gnome, child of Mother Earth and Father Time. I dig a space for you, welcoming you with branches and leaves to the hearth of belonging in this garden we call home. And this one is for my dear brother-in-law, who, Rick, when I met you, I think he'll appreciate it, that's why. When I met you, you had bright red hair and lots of it. So this one's called Hair. Hair is so amazing. Run your hands through it.
It may be soft or coarse, light or bright, dark as night. From the tip of your toes to the top of your head, they may stand at attention. They may be tangled locks of dread. Hair is so amazing, though it has no feeling. It expresses so much feeling. Standing tall as if to warn, what was that chill traveling down your spine? You may let your flowing freak flag fly in the meadow harmony, or keep it shorn as grass enlisted, complying to the revelry. Hair is so amazing, so when it turns as white as a ghost, as if to welcome an unholy host, if it falls out of your head, unbidden to your entreaties, if it cries from under its hat, or wakes up mad after falling on a mat, call it not a treasonous traitor, though tiny in width does it measure. The secrets that unfurl your soul are locked within its follicular treasure.
Huli J. Chan.
Okay. Hello. I usually sing songs and don't write poetry, or I turn my poems into songs. But I went outside this morning and I wrote this, so it's kind of trail of thought. The breeze chills my face. I think about going inside, but what would I be then, trapped in my comfort? This is the season where it bites you before the sun is warm enough. Soon we'll be sweating and wishing for the cold breeze. Can we sit in our discomfort, realize it's part of our nature? If we never feel anything, we'll never adapt to what the change calls of us. I'm sorry to myself for sheltering so long that I would be affected this deeply by the breeze. Let me hear the last cry of what the cold teaches. Let me remember the shiver, the blanket you gave me. Let us weave a sock to put on our cold toes and step into the next season, where we sweat out the fear that keeps us in hiding. Let us rewild ourselves and plunge naked into the unknown sea. Let us be a school of fish that learn by swimming together, to become bigger than our predators, to keep each other safe. One small fish simply will be swallowed. Connected, we move toward life.
Isaiah Kidney. Yay.
Only true sons and daughters of Skyrim know this one. There once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding from Whiterun to Old Rorikstead. and the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade, as he told of the bold battles and the gold he had made. But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden, Matilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie, and you drink all our mead. Now I think it's high time that you lie down and bleed." And so then came the clashing and the slashing of steel, as the brave lass Matilda charged in full of zeal, and the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more, when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor.
Tony Ann?
All right. Cool. All right. It is a wonderful spring day, and it's just full of life, full of springiness. So I have I have two poems that I'll be doing today. The second one we'll get to, but the first one is called A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end of way, but to act that each tomorrow find us farther than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and, departing, leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing, shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. This second one is one that I made. This was made quite a while ago. This was for a liberation mic. It was written for like an open poetry jam mic session at the Boston Liberation Center. So it's gonna think of the kind of topic you would expect from a place like that. Okay. This is called A New Rule Book. I have a college degree, just like they all decreed was a necessity to ensure a proper future for me. Yet when I look around, no employer has followed through. I do their little interview, but don't hear a sound. Repeat in circles like I'm the little clown, juggling all these false hopes. It's all a joke to please the elite few. They suck the lives of the workers like a leash, with fair wages and housing just above our reach. They're shrinking the food and raising the rent, jumping through hoops just to get crumbs of their bread. The very same bread they feast on through our labor, while we're framing these crimes on our very neighbors, split us into fractions, turn us one against one another, artificial blinds that keep us eyes covered. They set up the system that keeps us suppressed. We consume so much, yet we're starving and stressed. We yearn to be fed with art that shares part of the human soul, to connect with those around us and feel full. But some people who look at this rainbow don't recognize the spectrum of hues, not caring for the yellows, violets, or blues. To them, the human condition will not be seen. Rather, they choose to view only the color green. The works of the human spirit not only serves to feed this international industrial profit machine. They set an arbitrary standard for what they call art, and then they gatekeep and stomp out the artists who aren't. Those who wish to challenge and call out the status quo, to manage to go teach the world the lessons of our history and for what we fought, the stories that have been deafened or never get taught. So I say, don't play by their rules. We make our own rule book, its pages drafted and looked at from the hands of the many, with policies that the people shall levy to aid those who have been in the most need, rather than to fuel those who run on greed. I'm confident that the message we're sending, showing that wealth was never scarce, but rather in plenty. Come rewrite the social contract with me, to make new counsel to govern this country, to make the voices of those across every nook and cranny, every gender, skin tone, and income level, from young adults to wise old grannies, born from the ashes of our comrade rebels whose passion for revolution will not go unnoticed. We no longer view each other as opponents, but rather as siblings on this one planet. A moment in the eons of space, time, and beyond. So let's focus on making this precious time we have with ourselves to grow as a human race, to escape this capitalist hell, to break the chains of this dystopian system, to say we've had enough and tell them good riddance, to carve a new world where everyone rises together. So take each other's hands as we make our future better.
Quang. Quang.
Hello. I will tell you now, I love wordplay, so be prepared for a lot of wordplay. This first poem, I recently have been loving to put two words together, so I recently decided to put the word poem and empath together and came up with poempath. You are a pro-empath, a beautiful path forward, and you write your care out for others in the way of the life that you have led. I watch your words jump from pages and cling to the brains of many, and sing to the reins of society, to cultivate care and to grow with green thumbs in gardens. You can understand a story better than most, and understand the soil of different lands and hosts. So share your poempath mind, for it is a simile which is like your eye with a smile, a metaphor that can make a sunrise reflect in our dispositions, an alliteration attempting at attaining altitudes, with rhymes that climb to lifetimes of sublime. Onomatopoeia, boom. You caught me by surprise. So thank you for being you. This one's called Resilience. There are pros and cons to all that I see. I can say the profound, it continues to confound me. And I've been one of the people in numbers, staring out in societal slumber. But I've been working on higher altitudes, gratitude, moving through longitudes and latitudes, changing of attitudes, removing states, both external and internal, and springing out of locked cells, potential energy, adenosine triphosphate and vernal, a bloom room, a kernel of hope, but I feel sometimes these wounds grind the gears of my coping mechanisms, creating schisms and tears which underhandedly batter my prism. It's an expression prism. But you've risen each day to say, look at your self-esteem when your true self is teeming, overflowing, glowing, to not mask and perform, but to bask in pure form. Here you say, no wound shall hold sway. No, not today.
Jessica.
Hello, everyone. Hi. So I want to preface the few poems that I'm reading today. My grandmother passed away at 93 a few years ago, and when going through her apartment, we found poems. Lots and lots of poems that she had written throughout her entire life, which was a total surprise because we didn't realize she was a poet. And just a little bit about her, she was a fierce Catholic. I had my first year of tuition paid at a Catholic school before I was even born. She was on the church choir, she volunteered for everything, and looking back on it now, I realize what a fierce person she was. Her son came out in the late 70s, and she was a fierce protector of him. And I love her for that. She supported him at all of his drag shows. She stood up for him and his partners, you know, if anyone ever said anything about him. So I wanted to put that out there, even though she was fiercely Catholic. She really walked in the steps of Jesus and accepted everybody. So when I was a little girl, I had this poem on my bulletin board that she wrote for me. It was an acrostic poem, so it's my name. And coincidentally, my birthday is in 2 weeks. So she wrote this exactly 40 years ago. Joy and love she brings to all, each time she comes to call. Sweet and gentle, always polite. She's a charmer, our little sprite. It's now 6 years this birthday girl came early into the world. And there's a poem that we found where she writes about the race riots in New Bedford. And the way my daughter dealt with her grief after my grandmother passed away is she took all of her poems and she transcribed them as a way of healing. Sorry. So this one's called Anger. The face of anger is cruel, distorted. Fear runs rampant, a body contorted. Falls mortally wounded, the young man's lifeline flows into the street. Strange the colors, the same as yours and mine, but we only saw his colored face. And this one's titled Blind. Are you short? Are you tall? Doesn't matter at all. Are you fat? Are you thin? A butterball or slim? Your outside's just a part. What matters is the heart. This one's called Children. Children, children everywhere, cold and hungry in despair, have the need of us to care, feed his lambs, the homeless and the hopeless, shuffling by you in distress. And I'll just read one more.
This one's called discrimination. When I perform my tasks as well, or perhaps even better, then why don't I get paid as well as the man who can't do better? Thus has it always been, I hear, in this place or another. All right, there's one more. She writes one about glasses. Wait. Yeah, I know. Because, you know, praise the girls with glasses. Okay, it's called Making Passes. Men seldom make passes at girls who wear glasses. So Dorothy Parker once said, "Seems strange and bewildering that so many lasses with glasses still manage to wed."
AJ, come up.
Hello, everybody. I have two to read you today. The first one is one I read at all the Pride events that I volunteer for, and it's called Queer as In. Queer as in I'm over it, trying to appease your gray, washed, outdated desires. Queer as in I'm tired, making myself small to fit in your puzzle that I have no need to complete. Queer as in your bland opinion exhausts my willingness to respect you. Queer as in I will continuously refuse to censor myself to comfort your ignorance. Queer as in my resilience is the anti-venom to the hatred you spit. Queer as in I denounce your white cis het fragility. Queer as in I deserve to love and be loved unapologetically without explaining my worth from now until my very last moment. Queer as in my sobriety is necessary because my only safe spaces were corners of self-medicating darkness you pushed me into. Queer as in I have mommy and daddy issues because my birth was a reaction to trauma, a means to escape. Queer as in wearing neon to resemble the acidic burn you'll receive if you try to roast me. Queer as in don't choke my chicken while yours is still roasting. I have no idea what that one meant, but I just went with it. Queer as in I dress so femme because one day a little boy will step through a crowd just to tell me I'm pretty, and that's all the validation he needs to know he can be pretty too. Queer as in I'm no longer apologizing to you when you should have been apologizing to me. Queer as in there was no seat at the table, so I brought a folding chair. Queer as in I know my place and it's everywhere I want to be. Queer as in my husband birthed my daughter. Queer as in she has a queen for a father. Queer as in we have always been here. Queer as in your colorful closeted uncle, your eternally single cat-loving aunt who had the same roommate since she was 20. Queer as in your ancestors. Queer as in we are the healers and midwives and scholars. Queer as in the creators, the writers, the builders. Your dad when he was in college and fell in love with his professor, but he doesn't talk about that. Queer as in everything they told you that you were but aren't at the same time. Queer as in being undefined and being totally fine. Queer as in eternal, sacred, worthy. Queer as in Jesus. Queer as Mary Magdalene. Queer as in some of the ones picking up the mess and making the planet less of a shitstorm. One opportunity for unconditional love at a time. Queer as in we do not come out. We decide who to let in. Thank you. This last one that I'm gonna read, I wrote for my husband on Trans Day of Visibility. And first, I just wanna publicly thank this man because he puts up with a lot. I am a lot, and he loves me, like, unconditionally. Find yourself a man like him. This is titled Your Body. Your body is not defined by its carves, curves, and etches. Your body is a constant effort to trace, erase, and start new sketches. Your body defines individuality and grace when wars begin to encircle. Your body has carried me, carried our daughter, through every trial and every hurdle. Your body need not refinement. Your body holds the tools for earthly alignment. Because your body is not literature, though I love to gaze my eyes upon your poetry. Your body is only malleable to the tools in your hand. Your body is yours and yours alone. But damn, I am so grateful to be able to dance on your land. Thank you.
Pam Fuller.
Hello. Since we always talk about problems of aging, I forgot this was today. And so I have left whatever I can find on my phone, but I have 3 things. First one is called Her Loneliness is an Alarm. Her loneliness is an alarm clock. It pings her heart each time she wakes. She opens her eyes as the first rays of sun filter through the curtains. But then the aloneness stops her breath and makes rest impossible. I must sleep, she mutters. Let me be, she whispers. The birds bring solace. The beauty of their song penetrates her soul for a moment, but does not drown out the loneliness. It appears in her dreams, disguised as nightmares. In dreams, the ones who do her harm with a blunt instrument of their neglect smile at her lovingly. Those images inhabit her dreams. When she awakes again, all is still. The emptiness she feels lies heavy on her chest. Next one, a lot of people here have heard about my grandchildren. This is probably poem number 3 about one of them. But this is about the most recent one. He's 9 months old now, named Noah. Baby Noah. World swirls around me, cruel, violent, beautiful, shining. Those in power make no sense. Winter punishes us with freezing temps as I huddle in the house and do not leave. Inside my house, it's cozy. Plants who were dying, stay in the sunny plant hospital by the glass doors and come back to life. Lullabies play on repeat. I hold the small one in my arms. Peace descends. His eyes shine with innocence. Will his tenderness save us? Old enough now to smile or laugh, when we sing him to sleep, to eat, to drink, we whisper his name, or make funny noises, or whistle. He loves the whistling, mysterious sound, searches around, what could it be? He knows our voices and faces, and when I coo to him, he coos back. Fluffy black hair, big black eyes, so like his dad's long ago, and his older brothers. His cloth book crinkles, cries out to be chewed on. Dolphins and whales move across the turquoise pages. When held up close to him, the dolphin images stop his cries, and he stares in wonder. We tell him stories or sing the song by Victor Jara, Chilean singer, Duerme, duerme, negrito, que tu mamá está en el campo. A song his father heard for many years. Tomorrow his mama will bring him to the door once more. Grandson, son, brother, cherished one, Babineua. The last one could be considered prose, but I'll try to read it like a prose poem. But as many Unitarians say, we're Unitarians. We can call it whatever we want. On March 21st, well, it's called Morning on Vial Street. Morning on Vial Street. On March 21st, 2025, it was a morning like all the others in New Bedford, Mass. Luigi and Josue, ages 14 and 16, were getting ready to leave for New Bedford High. They felt good in the school, a haven after the long trek from Guatemala. They were quiet so as not to disturb the older cousin, Elizabeth, 18, still sleeping. They were quiet also for their father and uncle, 35 and 39, who had just come home from work. The older boy was going to go and get some milk for Luigi when he heard a loud noise from the first floor. He looked out the window and saw a crowd of about 20 men dressed in military fatigues and black masks. At all the other windows, the neighbors looked out from behind the curtains. The two boys stayed frozen in their room. They could not hear Jose Antonio, 39, years old, saying, "Silencio, la migra," quiet, it's immigration. Elizabeth slept through the crash as their apartment door was broken. They opened her door, the first door they found. She was shocked out of her deep rest, but did not move. The men began to surround her bed and paw at her, muttering to each other that she might be armed. She lay paralyzed as they knocked over lamps and tables. They yelled immigration, but that did not register with Elizabeth. She wondered if it was all a nightmare. She had flashes of masked men from gangs coming into the houses in her native Guatemala to attack women and girls. Josue and Luigi heard the crashing, but not a sound from Elizabeth. Then their door was broken down and a gun put to Josue's head. The two boys heard the words immigration and up against the wall as they were pushed and handcuffed. Luigi imagined sitting at the warm school cafeteria, eating a muffin with the other friends like himself, then being hurried along to get to class. He thought of the smile his homeroom teacher always had for him at the door of the class, and her voice as she said, "Cómo estás?" But then he was being pushed down the stairs. Elizabeth had been pulled out of bed and was being taken down the stairs after the two boys. Josue thought of the jails where the soldiers took you in his country. Sometimes the people taken away didn't come back. At the three teens shivered on the sidewalk on Vial Street, handcuffed and disoriented as neighbors tried to run out the back of the building or call a friend for help. They knew they could be next. A group of masked men next dragged Jose Antonio, 39, and Miguel, 35, to an unmarked van and forced them in the back. Then 5 or 6 men surrounded the teens on the sidewalk, yelling, "Papeles, documentation, papers." Finally, they left the 3 teens on the sidewalk, unsure of what was happening. The supposed agents drove away with the 2 adults, Miguel and Jose Antonio, father and uncle to the kids. An hour later, another cousin, 19, came home. She had been searching for work. She found the 3 huddled on a bed in the damaged apartment.
Stephanie?
known, I would have brought something that I wrote, but as it is, I'm going to read from a trusty hymn. It's not a hymn.
Right above that mic, Steph.
Okay. All right, this is called Free from Suffering. It says, may all sentient beings be well and enjoy the root of happiness. Free from suffering and the root of suffering. May they not be separated from the joy beyond sorrow. May they dwell in spacious equanimity, free from craving, fear, and ignorance. And that's from Bodhis Vows. And this next one is love versus hate. Never does hatred cease by hating in return. Only through love can hatred come to an end. Victory breeds hatred. The conquered dwell in sorrow and resentment. They who give up all thought of victory and defeat, or defeat, may be calm and live happily at peace. Let us overcome violence by gentleness. Let us overcome evil by good. Let us overcome the miserly by liberality. Let us overcome the liar by truth.
This will be our last one. Danny, you just signed up. You ready? Yeah. All right. Get on up here, man.
Hello. Wasn't expecting to say anything because I'm usually just a songwriter, so it's I'm actually a little nervous to not have like a guitar, but I just heard so many wonderful words I wanted to share a little bit. I've been songwriting with my partner Becky, and this is something we wrote together. It's called Love and Folk. Just give me a second, sorry. I don't know where we're going, but it feels like I'm getting used. Each one of my teeth be shaking as the world is coming unglued. All I feel in this moment is what I've only seen in the past. The shadows haunting my body as if it's waiting for my soul to pass. I know we don't like to talk about it. Everyone seems just to dance around it. It seems like we're all breathing in this smoke. With billionaires selling souls of preachers, watch them dig this hole even deeper. At least I know my friends are the loving folk. I don't know how we got here, or if this house was built to last. I was told Eve was the problem. Ignore the slither in the grass. Will we hear the rattle before the poison has its way? Or will we find the antidote in this one saving grace? I know we don't like to talk about it. Everyone seems to walk around it. Seems that we're all just taking in the smoke. With billionaires selling souls of preachers, watching this dig this hole even deeper, at least I know my friends are the loving folk. Just one more verse. Will they... If they have our minds, will we let them have our souls? It seems like too many of us gave it up too long ago. Watching the tendrils spread, wondering where they'll land. We're all living as equals, it's not just for the whitest man. I know we don't like to talk about it. We all seem just to walk around it. It seems that we've all been taken in this smoke. With billionaires selling souls of preachers, watching them dig this hole even deeper, at least I know my friends are the loving folk.
All right, thank you everyone for coming out today. Pick it up a little bit there. Pick it up. All right. Thank you. I want to thank Caitlin. This is an awesome portal. Really brought us full forth here, right? Made the poetry even better. Thank you, Sam and her friend. Thank you, Karen, for having me here again this year. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, all of you. You all did great. There's coffee downstairs, and I think there was one other announcement, wasn't there? Wasn't there some dedication?
We are dedicating our little
Take it.